I am, as Louis said, Colleen Curley Prossner, and my mom and sister are here. Thank you guys for coming. How many of you have actually been to the Catherine Cummings Theater? Not quite half. It's only 10 minutes away. 15 if, depending on how you drive. But we, the Linkling House, it's right. Do you know where the theater is by chance? No. Do you know where the Linkling House restaurant is? Yeah. It's right next door. Literally, that big, beautiful structure right next door is the Catherine Cummings Theater. So it has some really great history, rich history. You can read along here, but it was first acquired by the college in 1968. And almost 40 years later, I began 13 years ago as their first theater director. They never had someone in that position before. It was actually run as an academic space most of the time. So they hired me to actually go out and run events and deal with the community and really manage it, whether it was internal with academics and with the college or if it was out into the community. So it's been actually a wonderful opportunity for me too to be able to meet so many people and for me to be able to go out into the community and share culture, share the arts, and share all of the wonderful music and theater that you have and that we have in this area. And it's also rich in the theater world as well because it was an opera house at the turn of the century. I'm going to just go through this a little bit. As you can see, you probably read this since I've had it up for 20 minutes, but it continues to grow as a historic landmark, and the college and surrounding communities continue to benefit from this, from the theater. This is what it looked like at the turn of the century before this structure actually burned down. It was actually, this was probably taken in the late 1800s. It was originally the Free Congregational Church. That's where what it actually began. And then that was, I'm going to just flip this over and go through a little bit of history. In 1838, it was the Free Congregational Church. The church was allied with area abolitionists and was the site of meetings and conferences that including well-known area abolitionists. 1854, the village bought the Free Church to use for hall meetings and entertainment. The building was then named the Concert Hall and enlarged to include a hall for seating for 500 people, a stage, retiring rooms, as well as rooms for the village court and a supper room. And they actually used to house the fire truck in the original structure as well. There was a parking spot. In 1886, it was renamed the Cazenova New Hall, and that burned down in 1895. So unfortunately, this was the Cazenova, or sorry, the other picture. This was the Cazenova Opera House that unfortunately burned down. And you can see how beautiful and intricate the seats were, and the stage only came out about 10 feet from the proscenium. In 1897, the present theater built, which was known as the Cazenovia Hall, was to be used for village businesses and record storage, with the hall and stage used for public entertainment, which eventually included plays and concerts given by students at Cazenovia College. Later, the Cazenovia Hall became known as the Opera House and then the Cazenovia Playhouse, same theater that is there today. This records a meeting in August of 1850 in Grace Wilson's Cazenovia apple orchard that went down in history. This was the early abolitionists. So the Free Church that was originally there was where 2,000 people gathered to the Fugitive Slave Act. And there were 50 slaves. This was all the Underground Railroad. It was quite a feat, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with anything, Peterborough, the Civil War, the whole Underground Railroad, Garrett Smith, and just an amazing, amazing history that we have. And they actually couldn't all fit in front of the church, which is now where the theater is next to the Linkling House, so they went over to Grace Wilson's apple orchard and had a meeting with 2,000 people. And it was just, it's absolutely amazing when you actually think about it. There's actually, they put an actual plaque there now that states that that's where the site was, where all this rich history happened. It's really interesting. It's really quite amazing. And to know that the church that once stood where the theater is was actually that Free Congregational Church, and the history that went along with it is just completely amazing to me. Going forward, 1968, Cazenovia College actually bought the building and renovated it as a community theater. The Playhouse suspended operation as a commercial theater, booked films that were interest to a collegiate audience. In the mid-70s, the Playhouse was run as a movie theater by the Guggen family. Did anyone ever go to any movies when it was a movie house? Yeah. That was run for probably about 20 years. And it was just a lot of people saw the original. So many people will come up to me on the street and say, I saw E.T. there, I saw Jaws, I saw all these movies in the time and in the day.
I saw a gorilla play the piano.
Yes, the gorilla, that's wonderful. That was one of the staples. They had a gorilla that would come out and play the piano before the show. And actually, I recreated that. I had friends of mine, they're very upset with me still to this day, but I went and rented a gorilla suit and made my friends come out and go out and play the piano, and I started running movies there. So we do still have that gorilla suit. You know, Lewis, if you're interested, you know, come on down. You can be the gorilla. Yes, he's sweet. He's sweet in his heart. In the 1997, we held a 100th anniversary celebration for the theater. Major renovations happened. We actually had a matching grant with the New York State Department of Parks and Rec and Historic Preservation. And that's actually, I began in 2001, and my first job was to have the catwalks erected in the theater. So that was a huge job because I don't know if you know much about catwalks, but that's where all the lights hang. So it had to be safe for the students and the community that was using it, because there was an incident years ago where a student was up on the, on a ladder and had fallen. So we ended up putting in this great catwalk, and we now have this really incredible state-of-the-art theater with a brand new Bose system and projector system, and the bathrooms have been redone, and the dressing rooms have been redone, and it's really a beautiful place if you haven't been in there. We'll get to that as we go along. But then, I don't know if you know that Catherine Cummings she actually attended Cazenovia College back in, I believe she graduated in 1925. And they gave a major gift to the college. And $100,000 of that major gift went to the theater and continues to be used for different things that are permanent in the theater. Whether it's anything new that we need for a permanent structure in the theater. She was an advocate and was in many of the plays and shows at that time. Probably actually knew Jimmy Van Heusen, if you really think about it. Never thought about that. That's a whole other story. So, Jimmy Van Heusen, how many people know that he went to Cazenovia College? Attended Cazenovia College, Cazenovia Seminary. And as you know, he won 4 Oscars, 1 Emmy. And he wrote all the songs for so many famous people. So many famous people have sung his songs over the years. And in his day, he was the king of pop. I mean, he was the king, and his songs and his music were just, he went from this to this amazing, amazing songwriter. And I don't know if you're reading along here, but in his early years, he was Chet Babcock, and then he was working at a radio station and looked outside, and there was a billboard for Van Heusen shirts. And he said, oh, that would be a great name, great stage name. And then his buddy was with him and said, well, what am I going to use for my first name? James. That was his favorite cousin, his buddy's favorite cousin. So it became Jimmy Van Heusen, and that became his stage name. And he did that very early. I think he was 16 years old when he was working at the radio station.
That was WFBL.
WFBL? Thank you. And anytime, if anyone has any questions, I'm not up here to lecture. So just if you have a question or you want to, shoot me a question or a thought, I'm more than welcome to have you do that. So please go ahead.
Well, I have one.
Sure.
When did it become an all-women's college? Are you going to get to that?
The all-women's college was when Catherine Cummings went there, because it was a seminary. Then it became an all-women's college. I'm not sure of the exact dates, but I know then it became co-ed in the early 70s.
No.
Late 70s. When was it co-ed? 84. You went to school there, didn't you? Or you taught there, didn't you, Faye?
But another thing, too, I noticed that you said in 1970 it became just a movie theater, but it was a movie theater long before that.
Right, but that's when the Googans, right. But did they own it before that? Because they never actually owned it. I think it was from the village, wasn't it? I don't know if they actually owned the space. Yeah, they ran it for a long time.
Because I went there as a child, and that was
Well, come on. I thought you told me you were 23.
well.
Yeah. But it does in some of those days.
I was going to the movie theater in the early 40s.
Oh, the Googans ran it then?
Friday and Saturday was one thing, Sunday, Monday was something else,
Yeah.
and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, because I know it was run as a movie house even when the Googans didn't own it. So it was run as a movie house with different, way back. So Well, thank you.
That's how I first remember.
Okay, thank you for that. So just as you're reading along here, you know, Jimmy Van Heusen, it's just, his history is just amazing and it's rich. And I will tell you a little secret that I know that he got kicked out of Cazenovia Seminary because he was caught in the cemetery with a girl. So he got kicked out of the seminary. So his parents were really trying hard. They were staunch Methodists, and they sent him to Cazenovia Seminary, and see what happened. But he also, in Williams Hall, that was where we housed a piano at the time, and that's where many of his, you see some of his buddies say, Maurice Golden said that in Williams Hall, that's where a lot of those original songs began. I mean, he was a young boy. He was a young man. And that's where a lot of those songs originated because he went on just like that from there. So that's a very, very, we love having that connection, obviously, with the college. You know some of the famous songs he wrote, Polka Dot and Moonbeams. You know, some of the, I didn't even know this, but apparently he composed 23 songs for Crosby movies. And he was an avid pilot, which I didn't know, and I was reading this a little bit to Lewis yesterday. But just the amazing, rich history he had. High Hopes, Love and Marriage, all those wonderful songs that he wrote. And so many famous people sang his songs and just gave such a great, gave it so much back to the community and to the people. And then he actually co-chaired our Cazenovia College Alumni Fund Drive in 1963 and led a song, High Hopes, to the campaign with lyrics supplied by Ralph Larson. Cazenovia couldn't get by, never without its alumni. We're really aiming sky high. We're the old alumni, and apparently, no. It was apparently the highest revenue-making fundraiser that the college ever did. So that was great. Van Heusen was honored. This was when he came to Cazenovia College and was honored. Ethel Merman and President Eckel at the time. We actually have some recordings of those days, and he was singing High Hopes, and the whole group got into singing with them, and it was just amazing. He actually, Nat King Cole was on campus that same weekend with him, and Jimmy Van Heusen, this is the story that Jimmy Van Heusen started playing the piano and said, Nat, why don't you come over and play some of your songs? And of course, Nat said no. Nat's daughter, Cookie Cole, attended Cazenovia College, and Nat said, no, I'm good. I'm not going to do that. And so Jimmy Van Heusen apparently started playing all his songs out of key and in the wrong tempo. The story goes that Nat King Cole actually played the piano at Cazenovia College that weekend. So he's like, okay, enough. And this is Jimmy Van Heusen as he aged, and he was our first Distinguished Alumni Award. And these are some of the congratulatory telegrams that came in, which were kind of neat. Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Peggy Lee, you know, Shirley MacLaine. It's just absolutely amazing. And Van Heusen's collaborator with Sammy Kahn, who I'm sure many of you know. And longtime bachelor, he finally got married in 1969 to Bobby Brock. And they were together till Van Heusen died in 1990. And one of the things that I try to keep alive at the theater is Van Heusen's music. So anytime I run a jazz fest that I've been doing now for 13 years, and we've, over the last 3 or 4 years, we have really featured Jimmy Van Heusen music and really created it as a weekend event. This year, I've actually met with Brooke Babcock is his grandnephew, and Don, yes. And he and I met in New York a few months ago, and I've met him a couple of times, and they're actually going to support the Jazz Fest event. We are creating, Jimmy Van Heusen will be very prevalent throughout the whole weekend this year as well. So which I have this information coming up too, but they have become very interested because of the fact that we are keeping Jimmy Van Heusen's legacy alive and making sure that, you know, like with you, I mean, a lot of you knew or may not have known that he attended Cazenovia College and what his history was, but it's just to know that he was right there and that these people were on our campus and that these people were in our community and what he offered and what he's given to us as far as music goes, and he was 10 minutes down the road creating that space, you know. It's just, I think it's fascinating. These are just some of the people that sang Van Heusen tunes along the way. I'm sure some of you know Swinging on a Star, Imagination, Polka Dots and Moonbeams. A lot of these people sang on many different of their own albums or compilations of Jimmy Van Heusen tunes. Cazenovia College. The college is not only an academic space, but we also present productions. Throughout the entire year, we run 2 productions within the college. David Lowenstein is our artist in residence, and he directs our shows. He is straight from Broadway. He was in Seussical on Broadway and has done a number of things, dancing and singing and performing and producing, and he's been here for about 6 years, and so we're really blessed to have him. So if you ever do have an opportunity to come out to a show in Cazenovia, he's wonderful. I get to do all the back stuff, you know, the programs, the tickets. You know. You don't ever get the glory when you're the producer, but I don't want it. He's great. So we've produced Godspell, Oliver, Working, Grease, Laramie Project, Dead Man Walking, Bob Ag Birdie, Odd Couple, just to name a few. We have also, it is a community and student-driven production, so we do include community members as well as the students at Cazenovia College and the high school students. So it's been a really great opportunity to see that blend as well, because you have people that have never met each other, whether they're community or they're at the college or they're students in the high school, and all of a sudden there's this really great connection that these people are walking down the hall and walking down the street and saying hello to one another, whether you're the lawyer at the local in Cazenovia or you're a student at Cazenovia. So that's been a really neat, really great to witness the connection that's been happening through Cazenovia and with Town and Gown. So that's been a really, really nice treat as well. I also present a song stage concert series in conjunction with Live Space Entertainment, and these are some of the people that we have brought. Livingston Taylor, Paul Barrar and Fred Tackett with Little Feet, Nicole Henry, Felix Cavallari from the Rascals, Leon Redbone, some other people, Ian McClagan, who was with Faces, John Sebastian, John Ford Coley, Hot Club Construction. And these have been very successful as well. We run them, we've probably done maybe 2 or 3 a year. And it's just a great opportunity to bring different kind of music to the theater as well. So there's plays, there's musicals, there's children's theater, there's children's camps, there's jazz, there's opera, there's, I've had the symphony, not the whole symphony, colleges that have come in. Cortland College came in with their gospel choir. Dancing, poetry, lectures. Has anybody ever been to any of the Caz Forum lectures? Not, okay, you have. The Caz Forum, oh, Joan, hi, Joan. The Caz Forum, they present wonderful, wonderful lectures if you can ever get to anything that they do. It's free, they have wine and cheese, and it's just unbelievable what they do. You can actually go to their website's very easy. It's Cazforum, CAZFORUM.com. You can Google it, you can find it, but we actually have a movie coming up. One of their speakers is called Inequality for All, and that's on June 6th. And Rick Francona just spoke. We've had people from CNN, just really, really great people. That's not my event. I rent the theater to them, but I love publicizing them because it's an incredible venue, and we're very lucky to have them. Sorry? That's it. 7 o'clock. Their events all start at 7 o'clock. But I can also get you that information. If anyone didn't sign in and you would like to, if you would like to get information, if you have an email, I can send you information. My business cards are also up there. But if you have just an address and you don't have an email, I can send you information as well. So if you didn't sign up, please do so before you leave if you'd like to get information, or at least just take my card. Yes?
I've gone to your jazz festivals every year. They're fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I hope you come this year. So these are some people that we've had at the Jazz Fest over the last 13 years. Jennifer Holliday, the original Dream Girl on Broadway, was there last year. Bucky Pizzarelli. And if you know any of these people, just, shout it out. Bobby Militello, who was with Dave Brubeck for years. Does anybody know Noah Kalman and Nick Frenay? Yep, they are just phenomenal young artists, and Noah has his own CD out now. The Brubeck Brothers Quartet, the famous Brubeck Brothers Quartet, Dave's sons. Jane Monheit, who actually lived in Rome for a long time, and she just moved back to New York. We've had Melba Moore. I don't know if any of you remember. She won the Tony Award for Pearlie on Broadway. Gat Mangione. Henry Butler, a great blues jazz pianist from New Orleans. Nikki Perrott. She plays a lot with Bucky Pizzarelli. Jack Mayhew. Does anybody know Jack? Remember Jack? Jack Mayhew was an incredible clarinet player that actually went to Syracuse University and played. He was the first musician that I hired actually for Jazz Fest 13 years ago, and he passed away last year. He was actually a good friend of mine as well, so sad to see him go. That gentleman actually, he told me once that he knew 2,500 songs in his head in any key. Like, really? Okay. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I will say, you know, doing what I do, I'm always blessed and humbled to be in the presence of these people. You know, they'll get finished playing or singing, and you're like, it's just so humbling. I don't know if you ever feel like that when you go to a show or you go see a performance, but it's just very, you know, what they portray as artists is just so incredible. And that we're on the other side of that receiving that is just, I just find it amazing. Igor Butman and the Moscow Jazz Orchestra, they were phenomenal. They're actually at the Syracuse Jazz Fest this year. So that's going to be wonderful.
So Frank finally found somebody good.
Frank just copied me. We've also had Al Chez and the Brothers of Funk. Al Chez was, I don't know if any of you watched the Letterman show. He was that crazy trumpet player on the Letterman show for 20 years. Funny, funny, funny guy. He was there last year with his group. Oh, it was incredible. Danny D'Imperio. Anybody know Danny? Anybody know of that name? He's a great drummer. You know Danny. Link Milliman, great bass player. Warren Chassan, great vibes player. These guys have all played with Jack when I've always put a group together, and it always included Jack, Warren, Danny, and Link. And Ken Poplowski, does anybody know of Ken? Ken's a great clarinet player. He just won an award. I was in New York. He was at the Tribeca Performing Arts Center, and they presented an award to him. That was great. A living award. They decided to do it while he was alive. This is this year's Jazz Fest. Marissa Mulder. Does anybody know who Marissa is? A young, up-and-coming jazz musician. Her dad's Jim Mulder, who actually works at the Syracuse newspapers. He was a writer with me when I used to work at the Board of Realtors as the communications director, and he and I used to go back and forth with press releases and such. And then his daughter is now this incredible artist who lives in New York and is getting all kinds of accolades and awards all over New York. She's one to watch out for. Karen Oberlin, she's from Syracuse as well. Paul Carlin, he's actually from Cazenovia. And Nick Ziobro, does anybody know Nick?
Let
Nick?
me say a word about Nick.
Go ahead.
A plug for Nick. Nick just, what they call dropped his CD. Dropped meaning it just got released. He's been on the Radio Deluxe with John Fitzgerald and Jessica Molaski's program a couple of weeks. He's appeared here at the Senior Center at a couple of luncheons, and he's going to graduate this spring from Fayetteville Manlius, and he's going to go to Rider College, which has a broad-based musical program. Nick, as what we say on the streets, has got it.
He's got it. Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
A little bit of history too. This is just interesting. He was actually in Sound of Music with me at the theater. We ran the Sound of Music, and I was one of the nuns. And Nick was Rolf, who sang "I Am 16," going on something. He's just a delightful, delightful young man. And then he also played Jesus in our production of Godspell. So I've known Nick since he was never little, but I've known Nick for a long time, and I've had the honor of getting to know him. You know, being in a show, you really get to know people backstage, and he's got the best ear. I will tell you a funny little story. We had our music was all computerized, so we had somebody actually running the music from a computer for the Sound of Music. We didn't have a live band, which was the first time we ever did that. Something happened with the computer system, it crashed. Does anybody know Bill Verity? Bill Verity's a piano player. He tunes pianos in this area as well. Anyway, he was running the system. And this is about 10 minutes before showtime. The show went up at 8. 10 minutes before, we can't get the music working. we thought, okay, well, you know what, Bill, you're going to have to go play the piano. You're going to have to go down and play the piano on stage. I mean, we have to do something. He finally got it up, and what had happened once the system had rebooted, the key to every single song went up a half step. And Nick, Mr. Perfect Ear, Climb Every Mountain, no, not Climb Every Mountain. What does she open up with? The Hills Are Alive, with The Sound of Music. So she comes out, and she's singing The Hills Are Alive with The Sound of Music, and Nick said, that key changed. That's up a half step. And we were like, I mean, his ear is impeccable. It's unbelievable. We couldn't believe it. Nobody else heard it. Nick said, that's up a half step. Sure enough, we went upstairs, and Bill Verity said, oh, yeah, it changed a half step. But that's the musician, and that young man is unbelievable. A half step, maybe we could have figured out a full step, but a half step? We were blown away. And he's actually going to sing on Saturday. I don't know if any of you know Kat Russell, an incredible jazz blues musician. She's been at Lincoln Center a number of times. I've seen her there a number of times. My sister Rhea and I went to see her as well. And so what we're doing, so Friday for Jazz Fest will be Marissa and Karen. They will be performing together. What I'm doing is these artists, most of them are from Cazenovia or Syracuse, so we're bringing our stars home. That's what we're doing. We're featuring local artists that have gone out into the world and have done something great with music, whether it's New York or international or national. And so Marissa and Karen will be playing on Friday with a band from New York. Paul Carlin will be playing on Friday. On Saturday, Kat Russell will be playing, and in the middle of Kat Russell's set, we will be doing a Jimmy Van Heusen jazz break, where David Lowenstein will probably sing, I may sing, Nick Ziobro will definitely sing, so he'll be up there singing a few, probably 3 or 4 songs in the Jimmy Van Heusen jazz break. Then it will go on and complete out with Catherine Russell. And we also do Jazz After Hours every year at the Lincoln House following the Jazz Fest. So beginning at 10:30 or 11 o'clock at the Lincoln House downstairs in the 7 Stone Steps, we have a house band there, and all the musicians go over and just join in with the preset piano player, bass player, and drummer. And you know, I've had Henry Butler on piano, Dan Brubeck on drums, Chris Brubeck on trombone, Noah Kellman comes in and plays the other piano, Nick Frenet's playing the trumpet. So you have all these very accomplished artists with these students, and that connection is just amazing to see too. The mothers will bring the kids out when they're 15 or 16, so they have an opportunity to go play with these guys after. Link Milliman actually gave his bass, his upright bass, to Skip Murphy's son. Did you guys, anyone know Skip Murphy? They gave, that bass that he has was Link Milliman's. He acquired it. So just really neat to see that dynamic too. And I also have students all the time that play in the Jazz Fest, whether they sing or they play. We had the kids from the YMCA in Rome come, and there were 30 kids that came in and ended up doing a workshop with the Brubeck brothers during the day, and then they opened for them with them at night. So all of that kind of connection happens as well with not just the Jazz Fest, but with most of the things that we do. One really, really great addition to this year's Jazz Fest is Will Friedwald, who I became friends with at a convention I went to in New York in January. On the opening night of Jazz Fest, which is Thursday, September 18th, Will Friedwald, who is a Wall Street Journal critic and music historian, will be coming and presenting a lecture and a video on Jimmy Van Heusen. And he has some really good footage from famous people, from quotes, from, he's been doing this for a long time, and he offered to come up and do it here. So I'm really thrilled, and that will be at the theater, all free. The whole Jazz Fest is free too. And I actually get all the sponsors for the Jazz Fest. So I wish that the college just gave me money to go out and do it, but they don't. But so this will be actually a nice treat as well, to have him be able to come and speak on Jimmy Van Heusen to open up the Jazz Fest. Immediately following that, we go to the Braylock on the lawn for a opening party. And tons of people end up going there, and I have a band, and there's music, and there's food, and the bar's outside, and they have the fire pit going, and It's just a great time. Knock on wood. Well, that's not wood. Let's see. But in the 13 years that I've been doing this, I've only had to go inside once for rain. So say a little prayer to whomever you pray to. And then we have the theater. That's the inside of the theater in case that you haven't been there. It's very, very pretty. That was for Jazz Fest a couple of years ago. They took a picture. That's how it's been decorated for Jazz Fest. But the theater is a 252-seat theater, and I actually rent it out for lectures, rehearsal space, parties, graduations. People actually I've had 4 wedding ceremonies in the theater, which has been incredible. And we have the wedding in the theater, and then they either go to the college does all the catering, or they may go to another establishment around Cazenovia. But it's really been a great addition having 4 wedding ceremonies there. I do advertise that the space is available, but parties, weddings, rehearsals, lectures, concerts, anything. Some people actually have rented it out. I had one gentleman that rented it out to propose to his wife. He made huge posters, put them outside in the window boxes, rented the theater from me, ran a movie by himself, had wine and cheese and crackers, and he proposed to her. And it was the cutest thing. I thought, what a great idea. So, you can really do anything. You can do anything. I also run children's movies and run, not on a regular basis, but I do run movies. I run brunch and movie on Sundays. We do a lot of different things like that. I also run a theater workshop in the summer for children. Been doing that for 13 years as well. My mom helps every year because my mother is a director and producer herself. She's been doing that for 50 years, Mom? I know you're only 22, but So got the love of the theater from my mom and my dad, but mostly Mom. But so that we do run a theater workshop for children every summer as well. And so we start them early, and we teach them all the ins and the outs of the theater and theater etiquette, and not to get up during the middle of a show, and you need to wait until intermission unless you really have to go. How to be quiet. And I really start them young as to how you perform and how you act in a theater space. And it's been quite and I also encourage all of the children and their families to make sure, I always make this announcement, please make sure that you take your children to as many cultural events as you can, whether it's the opera, the symphony, a lecture, a play, a musical. Doesn't matter what you're taking them to, there's so many opportunities out there for free cultural events all over our area. And I really do stress that with my students and with the parents, because usually we have 80 or 90 people coming to watch their children or grandchildren, and it's a great message to get out there to make sure that people are keeping their kids in that cultural realm. So we do a lot of, I'm very blessed to be able to work there. I love what I do, and I can't really say I go to work every day. I don't work full time, but when I do go to work, I can't say that I go to work because I love it, and I enjoy presenting, and I enjoy meeting the people, and I enjoy, part of the best job is when there's an event, you actually go to listen to it for free. If you guys ever want to volunteer, you can come and volunteer and go to an event for free. But it's a great place. And does anybody have questions or?
What do you do for children's theater? Do you have cooperative where children of the community work and take part in the theater as such, or is that only in the summertime?
It's in the summer. The theater.
You don't do anything during the year.
No.
Around Christmas time, or that they would have a play that we put on between Thanksgiving and Christmas, that young people learn how to act in a play.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. Yeah, I do it in the summertime, but not during the year. It's what's hard is the theater is used so much during that, because we have a fall show and a spring show, so the theater's used for a good 2 months in the fall and a good 2 months in the spring. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize out in the community, is that it's used internally as well, so it's not always open to the public. But in the summertime, all the students are gone, so that's why I can run the theater programs.
And then you put on a play.
Yes. So what we do is the theater workshop is 9 to 12 for 1 week, and the kids range from 7 to 12. And we usually have between 20 and 25 students that participate. When I had Elizabeth Von Trapp there, we had 50 students, and I didn't have the heart to refuse anybody, because who doesn't want to sing with Elizabeth Von Trapp? So we did Sound of Music songs, and the kids, it was very simple, but they still got to perform. They opened for her in the evening, and then she had an actual concert in the theater that night. So that was a great experience for them. They were awestruck. They just all went. She walked down the aisle with her guitar, and they were like, wow, okay. Maria's here. But so that was wonderful. And then what I usually do is pick a theme, whether it's a show or, Cass College. We did Wicked one year. Mom, what else have we done? Country songs, pop songs, 50s. And the kids, we have them, so they come to the workshop from 9 to 12, and then at the end of the week, we put on a performance for their family, friends, community, free, open to the public, and it's great. I just love that. I love that part of it. It's so wonderful to see. And then I get to watch them grow up and go on to college and high school and be, famous like Nick Ziobro. Yes, Louis. Oh, Siobhan Fallon. Do you know Siobhan? Siobhan Fallon is a friend of mine, and she has been in many movies. Forrest Gump, Daddy Daycare. She actually lived grew up in Cazenovia, and went on to New York. And she was actually on Saturday Night Live for a while, but she chose to go off it, which I think is a great story, because she didn't like she didn't want to perform some of the things that they asked her to because of her beliefs, which I think is really cool. But so she went on to do her own thing, and she's extremely successful. And she has come in when we have the children's workshops, and she comes in and talks to the kids every year for about a half hour and talks to them about, the kids ask her what movie she's been in, and what is Tom Hanks like, and what is this person like. And so she shares that, and also shares with them about what an opportunity they have to have the theater in their backyard, and to be able to be working with people and starting out this young and such a great venue of culture. So she's been really great. We've had her probably 5 years, Mom? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes?
I just wanted to share that when we were at Lincoln Center recently for a tribute to Dave Brubeck, the Brubeck Brothers Quartet was doing a tribute to their father, and Colleen and I were there, and I can't remember if you were there that night, but 3 or 4 kids came up to me and said that they had met and first jammed together at your jazz festival down at the after hours. Those kids, I think.
Yeah, Noah and Nick.
Yeah, they had first met and jammed together there, and that's how they went on to the Brubeck Institute, right, out of California, and then here they are now playing at Dizzy's in Lincoln Center. And it was just, they said very clearly that it started there for them.
Oh, that's neat.
Really
How about singing at Birdland?
What's that?
How about singing at Birdland?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick was at Birdland. Last Thursday was when his CD dropped, was last Thursday. And, yes?
This is kind of, I don't know, kind of an intrinsic potential thought. Given what the music standards are today, with the different standards that most of us in this room think of as standards, what do you see as the enduring reasons that jazz, even the American classics as we know them, still bring and be a mainstream of music that is presented live and on the radio and now profusely on the internet? Let me explain the question.
Wow, can I have some coffee first?
Leave me alone. It confused me even when I...
When you created the question? Okay, go ahead.
Today, there's hop, a new level of singing and music that never even comes close to intoning what we know as music.
Right.
The American classics.
Right. The Great American Songbook.
The Great American Songbook.
Yeah.
And you and I know what the American Songbook is, and everybody in this room knows what the American Songbook is, and I'll label it for you. It's the stuff of Harold Arlen and Gershwin and Rodgers and Hart and Ellen sang, and Sinatra sang, and Cole Porter created, all that type of music genre. Today there's a whole new music, but if you go and hear that music being played, you're going to see young people listening intensely.
Well, one thing I will say about that, and it's because I've worked with these kids that are in this jazz world, the Nick Fernays, the Noah Kelmans, the Nick Ziobros. I'll never forget when the kids first started coming around to do jazz after hours, playing with some of these famous people. They were 14 and 15. And you know Kate Davis, upright bass player, singer. She actually used to date Noah. Noah actually taught my kids how to play piano too. But you know, there's these kids that are 14 and 15 and 16 years old, and I said, what do you guys listen to? Oh, we listen to Ellington, we listen to Arlen, we listen to... I said, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So I think what happens is, and it's just like anything, it has to go start in the school, in my opinion, because these kids have to know or have to learn, and a lot of them do. I mean, I remember when I was in school, and I was in band, and I was in chorus, and I was leads in the play, and all that stuff, but if I didn't have my teacher, Mr. Wonderly, or Mr. Salmatina, maybe people know that name, he was a great, great, great clarinet player, and he was my band director. If he didn't say, Colleen, I think that you have a gift, or you have a musical, this is something that you should do. If he didn't say that, or if Mr. Wonderly didn't say, you have a great voice, I wouldn't have done it. So I think that a lot of it is, in my opinion, and when I see these kids doing my theater camps, playing music, playing the trumpet, playing the piano, when they're encouraged by, especially from home and from the school. And so I think I've seen a new wave, at least because of jazz, because of what I do, and I'm in the jazz world so much. I've seen a big wave of young kids coming into it, especially playing it and singing it. Look at Jane Monheit. You know, Jane Monheit's 28 years old. She's going. I mean, there's a lot of young artists. I actually looked it up on the internet.
She's only 28.
Well, 30 now. 30. She was 17 when she won the Marsalis, the Wynton Marsalis Award. Yeah, and Michael Feinstein. Michael Feinstein has created the Great American Songbook as this huge, huge thing. He does the competitions. That's where Nick Ziobro won. The gal in Baldwinsville, Julie Baldwin, I think is her name. She just won the competition. But that's what I see as continuing the movement of these young kids coming in and having that opportunity. I mean, Michael Feinstein presenting that vocal competition every year is amazing.
So he's coming here in 2015, right?
Who?
Mikey Feinstein.
Are you paying?
We'll get him.
I'll keep you to that, Louis.
I'll get my guys Vito Corleone together.
Okay. Well, now we have a connection with Nick Ziobro, so I'm just going to go right down to Michael's place and just go introduce myself. Yes.
I missed when Nick Ziobro is performing in your jazz.
Saturday the 20th. Yes.
And
But
the second is, what is Tom Hanks like?
he wasn't as bald then, I know that. He had hair. She said he's wonderful. She said he is absolutely delightful. She spoke a lot about him, Mom, not just Tom Hanks, but a lot of the artists that, you know, with whom she worked. She spoke very highly of them and said a lot of them are shy. You know, you wouldn't expect it. I'll give you Jennifer Holliday. This is a great story. Jennifer Holliday, who sang on Broadway, was the original Dream Girl, sang that amazing song. When I met her last year, we had spoken on the phone a number of times, and when I met her, I, of course, walked in with my bubbly personality. Oh, hi, so nice to meet you. And she was like this. And I thought, oh my gosh, is she sick? You know, something. She was so quiet, and she just was very, 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 very quiet and shy. And then she warmed up a little bit. We have a 57 T-Bird, and I happened to bring it to work that day, thank God, because she wanted to go down the street and get a Cazenovia College sweatshirt. And I said, well, sure. I said, do you want me to give you a ride? And she said, yes. And so we started walking to my car. She said, is that your car? And I said, yes. And she said, oh my gosh. So then she opened up, and we drove around the lake, and we went over to the Brewster because she wanted to see where she wanted to eat that night. But that was a really interesting thing for me to witness, is how timid and shy she was. And then she goes out on that stage and blows it away. She still was incredible last year. Did you come last year to see? Did you see Jennifer Holliday last year? No, but boy, oh boy, she blew that song out of the water still last year, and she looks phenomenal. She looks absolutely phenomenal. But it's very interesting. A lot of these artists are very, very quiet and very to themselves, and then they go on stage and they're a whole other person. So very interesting to me to witness that as well. I know it's out there. I don't know how much, but I don't know, and I haven't ever looked into it in Syracuse or this area. Because there are schools out there that, not so much here, but we have inner city schools, and I never really looked to see what the programs are there. I don't know if they've cut that out or not, So it'd be an interesting thing to take a look at. Yes?
What's the ratio in Cazenovia when co-ed? Which my daughter was unhappy about. She went when it was,
yeah.
And what is the ratio of the guys?
I think it's like 6 to 4, maybe 7 to 3. It's pretty heavy women.
Yeah, it's growing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we have about 900 students, between 800 and 900, depending on the incoming class. But yeah, it's actually, they've really done a great job with the college. Dr. Tierno does a great job. We have some, really, really great classes. Our fashion and design. They just had the big fashion show at the Landmark with over 1,200 people in attendance. And these kids create the most beautiful outfits. I mean, I'm totally impressed. We had it at the Turning Stone last year, and then they moved it to the Landmark, into the newly renovated Landmark this year.
Is there an intent to grow the school?
Oh, there's always an intent, I'm sure.
Some schools that we know about have development departments.
Oh, we have a big development. We have a big development department, and actually I work closely with them because of the raising the money for the Jazz Fest. I have to work with them so that we're not hitting, the same sponsors and that kind of thing. But, it's interesting. We, our incoming class 2 years ago was so large that we had to go create rooms in apartments. Across where the FM McLaughlin old store was, there's apartments all up there now. And all throughout town, there's housing for the students because the incoming class was so big. So they didn't know that, they didn't plan for it. The whole summer they were just going gung ho. So yes, where we put them all, unless we go up, But it's and the whole down where the coffee shop is now, right next to Dave's Diner. Those are all apartments and student housing now upstairs, above the coffee shop and above Dave's Diner, Common Grounds. Yeah, so, yeah, it is growing, and I'm sure they continue to grow, and they'll figure it out if they need be, right? I mean, we have a lot of houses around Cazenovia that the college owns as well. I'm sure you've seen them if you've been driving around, but the alumni office, the communications office, the president's house is the big white house on the corner, the beautiful place. So, but the good thing about that is that we keep them up, and they're really beautiful around town. So it's been a very nice, sometimes there's things that are politically need to be handled, but most of the time the cap and gown really does work out well in Cazenovia and with the college. And it's nice because I work at the college, but I'm so involved in the community as well that it's a balance, and I get to see it and hear it and kind of report back. Or the parking lot's a perfect example. I had more people coming to me from the village saying, we don't want the parking lot to go all the way up to the building. We want it to go 3 feet away from the building and put shrubs there and stones and such. And so I'm still waiting for my parking spot, because one village person said, if you go to those people and you tell them that we don't want that all the way up there and they actually agree with it, you're getting a parking spot. I haven't seen the parking spot still. But so they did end up, and it was just a conversation. It was one person, I said, it's just all about conversations and communicating, and then things usually happen if you present it the right way. But it's been the college and the community actually is great. Those college kids certainly support the college, the community, Subway and Tops and all the.
What is the alumni giving like?
Pardon me?
What is the alumni giving like?
It's good. It's not where they would like it to be. I don't know if they ever are, but They've acquired some nice donations within the last year. You know, the Catherine Cummings was about 5 years ago. That was nice. You know, and they work very hard at creating those relationships with alumni. And in their alumni department, they do an incredible job. They do a really, really great job. And they've come a long way from even back when, Faye, when you were there. I mean, the college, from your perspective, I'm sure, is much different. Faye actually taught there as well. But, you know, totally different. Even the feel of the student body is much different. And the grounds, I mean, they really do a nice job. It's a really nice university sitting in the middle of Cazenovia.
From what I see, one of the aspects of becoming a student at a school is how the admissions department views the incoming student as potential givers when they become alumni.
I'm sure they do.
That is part of the deal. Okay,
But I certainly don't think that way.
With the Ivies and those schools.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Admission concerns.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they do, but it's that's totally not my department. So,
I understand.
yeah, but I get where you're coming
I would
from.
have never thought to say that unless this subject came up.
Yeah.
Because I look at alumni giving and that carries on as part of the growth of the school.
Absolutely.
And you need that growth to make it happen.
Right. And it's much different. It is much different than, the caliber of students at Cazenovia College is much different than it was even 10 years ago when I first started. So.
Next week, a lady by the name of Zum 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 Zum.
Hold on, there's one more question,
Oh, okay.
Louis. Did you have another question?
You'll like this question.
Oh, good.
You have a box office, right, for the theater?
I do.
And you call, there's a number?
Yes, 655 star.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'll hold the tickets up there.
Yes. And I wanted to, some of you went to, did anyone here go to my mom's show in Canastota? Well, my mom runs a dinner theater in Canastota at the Rusty Rail. At the Rusty, oh good, Mom, a couple people back there. So this is my mom. She directs it and produces them. And I told her that I would like, do you want to say something? Or do you want me to just?
Oh, where's that poster?
This is a prior.
Oh, this is the
Prior.
So,
you have this year's poster?
no,
Is there a website posting? This is information, no. That's a poster from the last show.
so let me just tell you a little bit about it. So Mom runs dinner theater in the spring and in the fall, and it's over 2 separate weekends. And she does, Faye's gone, a number of people in here now that they know have attended. And it's usually dinner and a show. Well, it's always dinner and a show, but if you go in the afternoon, it's obviously lunch. But the menu's phenomenal. The Rusty Rail puts on a buffet with carved roast beef, carved turkey, pasta, beans, fresh fruit. It's a great, is it not, Faye? It's a wonderful, wonderful menu. So my mom runs a lot of the, on Saturday afternoon and Sunday, she has groups and groups of seniors that come to the show. I think 250 people are usually at these shows in the middle of the day. They go eat, and you go and watch the show, and you're home by 5 o'clock. It's wonderful. Some people come in on buses, but it's really become a wonderful venue, especially for the seniors during the middle of the day. So Mom has done a great job promoting that. And next show is what, Mom?
It has been announced.
Oh, okay.
It's November 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 21st, 22nd, 22nd.
And is this a sheet here? Okay.
I've got to write up. I will find a way, or Marlena and I will find a way to get this up on our website and get it up on email.
And Mom, do you have a website, or you have an email, right?
I have email.
Okay.
You don't have a
Gretchen
website?
I will send you.
Stop everything.
Ah,
I'm serious. I'm very, very serious.
well, will you create
You
it?
should have no, I can't. I wish I could. But there's guys, you can get somebody to do it on
Eric.
Okay.
Well, Mom, we can talk about that, because it's not as hard as you think. So we can talk about that.
Wait, before we wrap up, Marlena, have anything that you want to add or say?
No, but I have more surveys if people we'll do them.
Okay, the
And you
subject matter.
I want you to do them
about
today.
This,
Tomorrow.
that Marlene
Tomorrow's
spoke
okay.
to you about
I don't want it to end up in a pile in the kitchen.
We're going to address that subject in the fall. We're looking for the right speaker, and there's a number of speakers in the community that are very concerned about youth being addicted to whatever they're addicted to, and sadly as it is. And this Huron problem is, you don't know how deep it is into the schools in this area. You've got no idea what's going on there.
It's actually terrible.
It's a mess.
Sad.
It is a sad mess. And that will be addressed also. So the senior center is not just about seniors. Don't think about it in that avenue. It's about what is today. And so the seniors are part of today. And I can't thank Colleen enough for coming here.
Thank you so much. You have been wonderful. Thank you. Does anyone, you can get a hold of me. This is my card. You could email me. Does anyone need a card or did not get a card?
She even responds to the email once in a while.
Yeah. And if you wanted to sign up to get emails, you can sign up. That's on the way out. But all of the events are on the website. So if you go to the Cazenovia College website, I would actually, yes. You mean from your email? Yes.
If you just Google it, Cazenovia College.
If you Google Cazenovia College Theater, yes. Yes. Oh. It's parents. Parents are awful. Hi, how are you? It's nice to see you. Hi, Joni. That's okay. Not a problem.
Oh, you did join.
You know what? See, the odd thing is, once again, it's parents. I raise my kids that way, and I teach my kids in my theater camps that way. I don't know. Right, and they're just...
Right. I can't really see with these glasses on. I don't know why I wear them. You know, eyes are complicated. I can't see with these glasses. I can only see with these glasses on.
Would they do it through here?
My test.
I mean, because we do run...
But I can't see. I can see you with Mom, but I can't see. Yeah, more or less.
Well, you know, we have vans at the college. Maybe we
but
can...
I've never been able to find a pair of them.
I mean, big vans.
There's so much astigmatism.
But yeah, thank you. Oh, okay, thank you. Here, you know what I mean? Let me make sure my cards are here. Here's my cards. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Great job. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, and I work. 18 and 15. They're out of the nest. They're pretty much gone. Samantha is in Loyola in Baltimore, Maryland. And my son Jake is going to prep school next year. No one's going to be home. So then maybe I'll probably to the area. No, I won't buy it here. Definitely.
Sorry? I will go. Have you been? And you enjoyed it?
Well, there's a lot of talent in the world. I was coming now because our music, not musical. This is metal. I had to go to the programs on TV. I do have a wonderful story. I enjoyed doing it. Young man's voice. Now I'm going to play the oldies, and I'm all set. Very because I'm driving. I mean, I've got hours to go.
Yeah, that's fine. I just froze and they were striped up. But it's the part that is not so old. The parts are different.
I know what you're saying. But I was
Unless I didn't know I was there. Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah, I know. Raw. No, yeah.
I do remember.
I mean, Scott has a He ran into me. That's the thing. His tire hit the back of my leg. So I have a tire with rubber on my leg.
What?
Slivers of rubber. I'm not sure, what the best thing to do is. Like, I soaked it, and then I can't touch it. No. So I soaked it, and then I'll cover it.
Yes, sure.
It's so cold.
I'm serious.
That's who Frank Sinatra's music director was. Oh, I'm not going to.
Never riding in front of us.
Maybe, I wonder if Louis Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he was in, the plan. It was on to me too. It's called Little Shy Horse.
And I love John. We play with Bill Miller. I mean, so that's a Bill Miller is
655 stuff.
yeah, but I can hear the name.
But as my mom has to dinner. Well, Louis will put it on the website. He's going to put it on the website. All the information here.
But here's what it is. It really blows out until you get the name of the name of
The play. We'll choose that soon. And I will
Now,
send it
it's
to you.
very good.
Oh, really? Oh, well.
Did you meet Louis? Louis,
We have, yeah.
Louis, this is my mother.
Yeah, I know.
Louis Cumberland.
I didn't make time.
Louis is the one with whom
Oh,
you spoke.
really? When was that?
Oh, gosh.
A week or 3 weeks ago.
Let's
Let's get a picture so that Mr. Fleischer can get out of here. Yeah, you don't want to. Louis will be here for 10 hours. Come on. Here, picture. Get a picture.
She's the best.
Yes, she is.
That's great.
Well,
Don't tell me.
oh, that's okay. Hold
Well,
on.
get Where's your phone?
Yeah, here, hold on.
Where did Rhea go?
Probably in the bathroom.
Yeah, she did. Hold on, let me get this thing up.
Well, Colleen, you did a beautiful job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
A lot of information you gave.
Wonderful.
In a
Yeah.
very short time.
Good questions,
Yes.
good people.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. I thought everybody was
Involved.
very nice.
Yeah.
And the one thing that didn't get mentioned, but I didn't expect it would be at the library, Paige, the library cat.
Oh, the cat, the library cat. There's a cat in the cat's library.
You seen him?
Oh, yeah.
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 That's funny. Takes a little while for this to do up here.
Yeah, it is a great cat. You know, another thing too, which, you know, you guys, we have archives from Jenny Becker's. We have hundreds of, you get them already.
Punch the button before I even know what it
Just
is.
touch the screen.
Yeah, I will. Okay, Louis, don't look so serious. Gotcha.
Got it, right.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much, thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you.
guys. You all set?
Nice
See you.
meeting you.
Good, dear.
Bye,
Thanks.
James.
Thanks for asking me to do it,
No,
it
no,
was great.
no, this was great.
Was it?
The way we test, the way I test grade is the comments, the feedback, okay? And once you get that, and then next week I'll get a little feedback, this is wonderful. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is that how important it is for you to come here to spread your message.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's what this is about. Okay, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, once I commit to the series, I've got to,
Keep it going.
you understand.
Yeah. So if you want Michael Feinstein to come next year, you'll have to find me the money.
I'll call him.
Okay?
I've been down to his joint.
Serious?
I don't know if he's-
You can help me get some money for the jazz
Well,
festival.
I can do that.
All right. Not
You
kidding.
gotta call this guy nice and easy. He's the perfect guy.
Who's the nice and easy guy?
McDougal.
Oh, McDougal guy.
Okay, he's the guy. I gotta make a copy of this. Okay. And guess what? It makes sense because he's in that area. He's in this eastern quadrant.
Well, can you connect me with him?
Lynn Smith, I'll call Lynn.
You
Okay.
call and make the connection for me, will you?
Okay, let me see what comes up with.
Yes, I did. It took a while, but did you find, oh, there was a bathroom right in the library.
I went there finally.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the other names were taken, like, he wanted to get our picture, so I wanted to go put my lipstick
Oh,
on,
he
but I
just
guess he
left.
already
Oh,
took it. Did he
sorry.
get you and Mom?
Yeah, he
Okay.
did. He did.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, he was cute. He's like, I want to do your sister.
We were waiting for you.
I was trying to get back, but the bathrooms were all, with older people. And
Okay, Rhea, where is the bathroom?
There's one right, Mom. Here, I'll show you.
Colleen, you did a great job.
Thanks.
Yes, you did, Paul.
Right here.
Yeah, a lot of information.
I know, a lot of. We found it, yeah. Where's Louis? Where did
You did a great job, Paul.
Thanks, Rhea.
It was
We
really
did.
good. It was
Thank you.
interesting and fun.
Fabulous.
Really good.
But it's so funny, there's so much more too on my brain that I,
Right,
Yeah,
probably,
but
right, probably didn't even get to half of it, right?
well, I was gonna talk, we have the Jenny Van Husen archives. We have hundreds of archives.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, you know what, you've got people's emails.
Mm-hmm.
You can always write an email and say, no. This woman, one woman came up to me and she said she's new to this area.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a treat. I also play bridge on Wednesdays. I don't come to every discussion group.
Mm-hmm.
I pick and choose and I.
Which ones? Oh, see? You picked a good one.
Did you get a card? Are you on email?
I'm Lewis's wife.
Do you want me to go through him?
Well, I am sent everything he gets.
She's a gem. What's your granddaughter?
Good.
Remember your little granddaughter that came
Yes. Yeah.
to the theater and she wrote me that beautiful card?
Yes.
She was so sweet.
Yeah.
Mom, this is Anita Kupperman. This
Yeah.
is Lewis's
Hello,
wife.
Anita.
This is my mother, Maria.
Nice to meet you.
I think the theater, the future
Doesn't she do a great job? She's been doing that for 50 years.
That's so great.
Oh, thanks, Liz.
Did you come to Virginia?
Not yet. The lady sitting next to me was talking.
Yeah.
Those ladies in the back, Mom, raised their
Yes.
hands. They have
Yeah, there were about 5 of them.
In Marlena, before you got here, she and I were talking about, she said a lot of times someone will call and say, oh, we do this and we do that and we do this and we do that. She said, but some of the ladies, because she said the reason that the ladies went was because your mom sent 4 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So they went, Mom's a great marketer, genius
Mm-hmm.
marketer. She went, the 4 ladies went, and they came back and told everyone how wonderful the show was and how great the
And
food
that
was.
they intend to
So
go
now
again.
she wants to create the
Yeah.
group. So that's why it was good that you came today too, so that people, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Louis will put it on, he'll send emails out, he's great at that.
I
He'll
know.
blanket it and he'll
You
send
did a
it
great
out.
job. Great, both of you, all
Yeah.
of
We
you.
also done hospitality.
Yeah, did you make all that, Anita?
They're great. Boy, that's a spot. I just
I just got
Very
some
good.
Jessica.
Did you bake anything?
Did people get enough?
Right.
Did they know there was food?
You're very well.
They do this every week.
Creepy. Yeah.
Mm. That was delicious.
One of the women sitting there this
That was
morning.
great, Carl.
Thanks,
You
Dee.
did perfect.
Your daughter.
Oh, yes, Kathy Vogel.
Oh, is that
the
the one?
mom,
Yeah, it
yes.
was so interesting, right?
She was in our.
I think it
People
was,
are very engaged. They really want to know.
I think it was interesting.
Oh, God.
I mean, I had all the,
She and the.
that, I put all this together like yesterday. But even the Free Congregational Church, I mean, how cool is that?
I think, you know, you could even do more on that next time, because it's fascinating.
It is, but I mean, that'd be a whole lecture.
Right.
Because.
You know, I kind of was doing history, like from past to present.
Well, that was great that you,
You know, so if we can do it, I just do
I'm glad you told,
rehearsals in the
like,
afternoon, then.
it's good that you
do
don't
rehearse
assume,
at night for
some
the
people know stuff, but probably most people don't. And they're too embarrassed to say, oh, was Jimmy gonna use them again?
Right.
So it's good that you told people, like, these are the songs, and they're like, oh, okay, because
A lot of people, right, a lot of
I
people
thought, I
don't.
tell Chuck that all the time, I said,
You can't say
people
you
don't
have
know
to
who
be here. I mean,
I
there's.
know.
They don't know who he is.
They don't, these people
If
do.
you're a jazz person, they
Right.
know, and certain crowds, but. you're
Like a
too
lot of these
embarrassed.
people don't know who John Sebastian or John Ford Coley is. We do.
Right.
We know
Right,
of
and I
these.
wouldn't have known
Take care
unless,
of those children and.
so,
You've got to be at a recital for your kids.
There's your honey.
Rehearsal.
I know, I should have said, he's from Verona, and I didn't.
I did.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, what a
She
great,
lived in New York
and you know,
for
it really is
quite
great,
a
that
few
those
years
kids
after
came up to me.
college.
I know.
I don't think you were there, or
Then
maybe
she
you were.
was law
I don't
school.
think you were there that night,
So
that was a
then,
different night.
Will, I
You
think
didn't come, that's
I
right.
think I should have squished his head a little bit. He's got a lot of
He
things.
looks like, he looks like Mimi, he looks like Mr. Eagle, Dr.
He
That's
does.
why she ended up.
There's another guy, Pitbull.
with,
Pitbull is a singer now out on the circuit. He's bald.
Yeah.
Pitbull, yeah, look him up.
Anyway, it was with the.
But man, I had put this together all day yesterday. I was like,
I'm sure it's a lot of work, I can see.
Means a lot.
You did a great job. You did a great job, you know,
Well,
you're very good, you know, just at talking, like, off the top of your head. So
No kidding. And where did you
It's
go?
great that you had it written, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I know
think
it all.
it's good
Oh,
that,
yes,
it's good that
absolutely.
you had it.
Oh, yeah.
But I know
Leah
it
went
pretty
to
well.
George.
But you're the best when you're not reading, just talk straight.
Yeah,
That
so
was
she
perfect.
decided.
Yeah, I know you know, I know it. Dates
Right.
and stuff, but.
You just need to be reminded, so it's like a crutch,
Did you
right?
guys buy the shoes together?
We didn't, but you know,
No, but
they're pretty,
And we have 6 daughters.
Pretty similar.
we are similar, you know,
And 1 son.
our voices are similar, we kind of sing
Yeah, you
similarly.
do sound alike.
we have the same temper.
We have a lot in common, that sister thing, and my other sisters too, we all kind of resemble each other.
I know sister things.
You know those things.
I know about it.
But I thought it was great. You're doing a lot of stuff that they do.
We do a lot of stuff, you know, I really, and Louis is great.
Yeah, you too.
You know, I spoke to the group at Oasis too.
Yeah.
It was a lot smaller group.
Wonderful.
Well, this is a little more different group.
What is here?
Yeah, it's great. They seem very engaged. And
Engaged is the right word.
yeah, they really.
Right, it's a-
Yeah.
Do you know?
And you ask a lot of great questions.
Well, you gotta be prepared.
Yeah.
You really do have to be prepared to see what's keep it going.
She lived
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Center.
but you did a great job.
Yeah, you did a
I
nice
think
job.
they moved over to Spyglass.
She's so funny, calls me.
Just wondered, Renee, no.
What are we-
No, Renee.
What are you gonna talk about? Well, 'cause originally he
Your
wanted me
husband's
to
very
go into
interesting.
the whole thing about.
You know, he asks the right questions.